Devin Hester, you are ridiculous.
The Bears are who we thought they were. And that's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were. And we let them off the hook.
Shut up. See that? That's your IQ, buddy. 0.
Hungry Chicago, finally champions on this January day in New Orleans.
This is the Barely Qualified Podcast with your hosts, Nick Lavris, Jason Maxwell, and Drew Bailey.
Hello again, and welcome back to another episode of Barely Qualified. This is season 2, episode 17. My name is Nick Lavris, and with me, as always, is Drew Bailey. Those watching on YouTube, you might realize we are Jason Maxwell-less again tonight. Jason is on vacation with his wife in beautiful, fabulous Las Vegas right now. He will be back on the Monday night show, so hopefully he comes back with lots of money. So anyway, this week, Bears have a game against the Saints. Saints are coming to town back at noon. Very excited about the noon matchup in our Week 7 game against the Saints. So we're going to dive into the Bears game. We're going to talk fantasy. We're going to dive into our guillotine. We're going to finally hit our bets this week. And for legal purposes, I have to mention that we aren't guaranteed to win our bets and we'll likely lose. But let's win these bets. But before we get into our Bears Saints preview, I want to talk to you about our friends over at Glen Rock Pop. Barely Qualified is fueled by the fizz of Glen Rock Pop, Lake County's legendary soda revival. Crafted with pure cane sugar poured into classic glass bottles and bursting with nostalgic flavor, Glen Rock is more than a drink, it's our hometown icon. Whether you're sipping on orange, cream soda, or my personal MVP, the all-new lime, Glen Rock is bringing the joy back to every corner of Lake County. Want to catch their pop-up trailer in action? Follow Glen Rock Pop on Facebook for their latest event stops. Ready to stock up? Head to glenrockpop.com to find retailers near you. From tailgates to game days, Glen Rock Pop is the ultimate sideline sip. Don't just drink, celebrate. So, Drew, we got ourselves a fun Bears game this weekend. We are favorites. We are playing at noon. We have a lot of things going our way this game. So Bears, like I said, kick off at Soldier Field at noon on Sunday. Bears are -4.5, which is honestly right about where I thought the line would be.
Yeah.
Over-under is at 46.5. And if you are interested in this, -225 money line. I don't think there's really any reason to bet that. But if you're interested, that's what it is. I think there's a couple big storylines in this game I want to touch on before we really get into like the key matchups and what the Bears need to do to win this game. The number one thing I thought about, I've actually been thinking about this storyline once I saw the Bears schedule against the Saints. The Caleb Williams versus Spencer Rattler battle is going to be kind of fun to watch, right? For those that don't follow college football, Spencer Rattler was the quarterback at Oklahoma when Caleb Williams went to Oklahoma his freshman year. He was actually going into his second year as a starter and was actually one of probably the legit Heisman front runner at the beginning of the season. Oklahoma had just come off of Jalen Hurts, who was a Heisman finalist. Kyler Murray won it. Baker Mayfield won it. And then the next quarterback in line was Spencer Rattler. So a lot of people had him pegged as a Heisman candidate and possibly Heisman front runner. Didn't have the best start to his season, and Caleb actually came in as a true freshman, a 5-star recruit, took the starting job from him during the Oklahoma-Texas game. You look at what happened since then. Spencer Rattler transferred to South Carolina, had a pretty decent college career at South Carolina, got drafted in the 5th round, 6th round, something like that.
Yeah.
And is a starting quarterback kind of by default because the Saints are just have nobody else. If you're Spencer Rattler, do you have animosity towards Caleb? Because since then, Caleb has followed their head coach at USC, won a Heisman, drafted first overall. There's got to be some resentment there, right?
Yeah, definitely the one thing that you can say is just you don't want the man to take your job, play better. But
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I remember watching that game too.
Yeah.
I've seen replays of it. I remember when that was like Caleb's coming out party. If for people that didn't watch his high school highlights or anything like that,
Mhm.
definitely had money on Texas. So that was that was not an enjoyable one. But yeah, remember seeing that and remember Caleb leading it back. I remember him just making some ridiculous throws to Marvin Mims Jr.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, the animosity thing of, I feel like in college is kind of like a, so what? Like, yeah, okay. If he was the better, if he was the better player, he should have been starting the entire time. You were into a job because you were QB1. They're always going to recruit. They're always going to recruit talent, especially 5-stars. But yeah, maybe it's a chip on Spencer Rattler's shoulder of being like, okay, we're both in the big leagues now. Let's try to show it. But I don't think Spencer Rattler's got that talent.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, also for those that don't know a lot about Spencer Rattler's prior to the NFL career, he was on that show. Was it Last Chance? He was on some like quarterback Netflix reality show. It wasn't Last Chance U. It was something else.
No, it was. They were like high school quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. And wasn't Justin Fields on that too?
I don't know about Justin. I never actually watched the show. I just have seen clips circulating.
Okay.
And Spencer Rattler, he was on it. He was a very highly sought after high school quarterback, and he came across as a real dickhead. Like he was just like an asshole to like everybody on the camp. Like he was definitely like, I'm the best player here and I know it kind of guy. So
QB1.
That's it. QB1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So knowing that about him, and granted, he was a high school kid, and he's probably matured and changed a lot since then, but I don't know, that just seems like the kind of guy who would definitely never look inward, right, when it comes to issues and blame people for things. And I could definitely see a world where Spencer Rattler looks at Caleb Williams and says, that should all be mine. I should have won a Heisman. I should have been number 1 overall. He took my life from me. So I may be diving too far into it, or maybe getting a little more talking about how I would feel about this than I should. But I don't know. I definitely think there's reason to believe there's some animosity there. I actually just saw an interview with him as I was prepping for the show on Instagram, popped up, and he was saying all the right things. So maybe he's not that guy anymore, but I just think that's going to be somewhere in the back of his mind.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it follows him everywhere he goes because it directly impacted his path towards the rest of his career. So yeah, I mean, it's a great storyline, although like very minor one in just the NFL regular, but yeah, great storyline for us to see if it gives him that chip on the shoulder.
Yeah. Also worth noting that in that Texas game that Caleb Williams came in and relieved Spencer Rattler, I believe he erased a 21-point deficit to Texas and they won the game.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Also, one of the craziest plays I think I've ever seen in my life. I don't remember if it was that game, but it was one of the first couple games Caleb came in Oklahoma. The Oklahoma was going for it on a key 4th down. It was like 4th and 1. Caleb handed the ball to his running back, and his running back like got stood up and wasn't going to get it. So Caleb just snatched the ball from his running back while he was tackled and ran the ball for a 1st down. And just like said, fuck it, I'll do it myself. And it was like, I was like, I've never seen that before. That's fucking crazy. So anyway, go watch Caleb Williams college highlights. They were the best. So anyway, all right. I think that I think there's some animosity. It probably won't bubble over or anything crazy, but I think there's definitely something there in the back of Spencer's mind. Caleb, I don't think he thinks about Spencer Rattler one bit. So
yeah, no. He probably doesn't even remember the dude's name.
Yeah. Did you see that? Did you see that clip of David Montgomery after the Lions game? Not this past week, but the week before in Cincinnati, where some coach went up to him and was like, "Yeah, you probably don't remember me, but I was here in like at Marvin Lewis football camp," and he was like, and David Montgomery was like, "Oh, okay," but he clearly had no idea who he was. That's going to be Caleb this week when they like do a quarterback handshake after the game. But anyway. So
who's this albino shaking my hand?
Yeah, so that's one storyline that's kind of interesting coming to this game. Another one is actually our defensive coordinator, Dennis Allen. we've probably talked about a few times. Dennis Allen spent a lot of years on the New Orleans Saints coaching staff. He was Sean Payton's. He was a defensive staff member from 2006 to 2010. He got a head coaching job in Oakland for a couple of years. Didn't last long, as you can imagine. Great defensive coordinator, not a great head coach. But after he got fired from Oakland, he actually came back to New Orleans, and he was on Payton's staff again until Payton retired in 2022, where he was promoted to head coach, and then he was at that position for 2 years until he got fired in the middle of last year. So, so there's definitely like some familiarity there with this team. The Saints have a lot of the same players that were there under him. Yeah, I mean, is this a revenge game for Dennis Allen? I mean, I think fans, like, we like to think things are like there's a lot of revenge and stuff in games, but like there might be some animosity. I mean, he spent a long time there. He wasn't a great head coach, so I guess I see why they fired him. But I don't know, and I think just like the familiarity is more of the takeaway here. Is he going to know their tendencies and what beats them and stuff like that? I mean, he coached this defense hands-on for, what, 5-8 years, something like that. So that's a pretty long time. So, I mean, do you think there's do you think that he's looking at this as a revenge game and the team wants to get revenge for him? Or more likely, do you think that like this is more like Dennis Allen's going to probably help out the Ben Johnson and the offensive staff with like defensive tendencies and stuff?
I think a little bit of both. I think we saw it with Flus of like, is your team going to get up for you? Maybe you're going to focus on it as a side story thing. But I do think Dennis Allen's knowledge is a little bit deeper than Flus's on defenses, and especially since he had more of a longevity towards that defensive core, and it's an older defense. It is a defense that has a lot of older pieces on it, so that would make a lot of sense that he has the knowledge of the players, maybe not the scheme as much anymore, but definitely the players, and that's going to help. Maybe not Ben Johnson, but it's going to at least help. Well, maybe Ben Johnson. What am I talking about? Yeah, because he's on the other side of the ball. Yeah. But he's also been there for their offensive players too, because it was just last year, maybe not as exposed as you might think, or it might help. But knows all the guys still. And I don't think Dennis Allen doesn't seem like the type of guy that's like, I need revenge against these guys, or I hold a grudge. Just more of like a kind of prove your worth sort of thing. Like, maybe I wasn't the greatest head coach, but I can DC the hell out of a defense, and prove that he's where he should be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Dennis Allen's going to go in the defensive meeting room this week and say, "Boys, I really need to beat my former team." Like this one's personal. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. But I can definitely see a world where the defensive players kind of like understand the like the weight of like this team on him, and how they kind of was shown the door in the middle of the season last year. And they might, like, if like we talked about Eberflus and how his defense just, I don't even think they know his name, to be honest with you. They just like they laid an absolute egg against the Bears. I'm curious to see if like the defensive players kind of step up and try and say, this one's for coach or something like that. I don't know. Yeah. I feel like that's an easy thing to kind of motivate and like bring together a team. So I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens there, but it's just an interesting storyline. It's like I said, Dennis. Go ahead.
He has so much more. I mean, you saw Flus in that game. Zero, and we knew it as as him being our coach, like zero fire. Dennis Allen's got fire no matter who he's coaching against, what he's like. He's got fire, juice, whatever you call it. So he's going to be passionate no matter who he's playing with. Maybe a little more juice for this one, but and that's what gets players behind your back. Yeah. So maybe they are looking out for him. It wouldn't come out and say that it's a storyline, but maybe they're trying just a little bit extra to do something for him.
Yeah, I mean, when you said that, my thoughts went straight to in the game this past Monday night. There was a shot. Jaden Daniels threw a ball away, and it was clearly a like intentional grounding foul call. And there was no flag for a minute. The refs kind of got together and they threw the flag eventually. But while they were debating, I mean, the camera shot to not Ben Johnson, to Dennis Allen, and he was like on the field, like being held back, like screaming at the refs to throw the flag. So yeah, there definitely is more fire there than Eberflus. I mean, honestly, I think like anybody with a pulse has more fire than Eberflus. That guy, like it's crazy. There were so many times last season where the Bears were so bad, and I was like, dude, if you're Eberflus and the whole thing about you is you don't have any fire, just fucking go in at halftime and like flip a table over or something like that. Get the team's attention. Do something like crazy to like get them fired up, and just nope, never did it. Just gonna fucking milk toast his way through life.
Just gonna keep the same pulse the entire time of my life.
Yeah. Could be coaching a football game, could be out fishing. Doesn't matter. Same pulse. Whatever. So
I got a storyline for you.
Okay,
Nick.
let's do it.
And I picked it up earlier. The Bears have not beat the New Orleans Saints since 2008.
Wow. That's surprising.
We have played now, obviously we're skipping a few, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 game losing streak against the Saints. Now, granted, they're a little bit better of teams than what we're coming into this weekend, but overall 13 and 17 against the Saints, and haven't won since 2008. So
wow. Yeah, that's surprising. I mean, it's not that surprising because up until very recent, like the past 3-4 years, like they had Drew Brees, they were kind of perennial playoff team. They played the Bears in the first ever 7-seed playoff game when the Bears snuck into the playoffs like a 8-9 or 9-8 record, and that was the game where what the fuck was his name? Javon Wims. He dropped that touchdown, and then he punched that dude in the face and got kicked out like 10 plays later. So that might be the last time they played the Saints, if I'm not wrong. I'm not sure.
2023 at the Saints.
Okay. I don't think that was 20.
And then there was the wild card game. Yeah, the time before that was the wild card game.
Gotcha. Okay. So that's interesting though, because honestly, when I think about the Saints, I think about we beat them in the NFC Championship game, which was one of the best Bears wins of my life. Probably the best Bears win of my life. Who am I talking about? They went to the Super Bowl. That was awesome. And actually, my first ever Bears game that I ever went to was back in like 1996 or whatever. The Saints were coached by a fella named Mike Ditka at Soldier Field, and I was at that game, and it was pretty sick. The Bears like were down 10-0, and they came back and won. They were both dog shit teams, so it didn't really matter, but it was fun. And Ditka was in Soldier Field, so it was kind of cool.
Ditka traded the bank for Ricky Williams.
He sure did. He sure did. God, could you imagine a GM or a head coach like doing that today? They would be fired immediately. Immediately.
Yeah.
The other team would be like laughing at. They wouldn't even be able to contain their laughter when they were like, "Yeah, we'll do that trade." But yeah, that's crazy. Maybe Anyway, so yeah, losing 8 in a row. That's weird. I'm glad you brought that up because I did not come across that. And I mean, it's different. Like you said, the Saints were a much better team for a while. And the Bears have been they've had like 2 good years since 2008. So it's not, they probably just didn't play them. So
understandable. And it makes sense. Yeah. It's just interesting that you look at that and you're like, oh, okay, wow, we haven't beat this team in that long. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's crazy. One other storyline that I wanted to talk about, it's not really a storyline. It's just more of a fact that the Bears are playing only their second noon game this season in week 7, which is wild to me because my entire life, it's like, Bears noon Sunday, lock it in. That's where the Bears play. We've had some 3:00 games, had a couple primetime games, bye week, all that fun stuff. So now Bears are back. We're back in our comfort zone at the noon game on Sunday. Does this make you as comfortable as it makes me? Because when I just like see a noon game on a Sunday, I'm just like, okay, I can like go back to like all the like I have like all my Sunday morning stuff, and it's all revolves around being home by noon to be able to watch the Bears game. So like, is this like, do you feel the same way? Are you happy the Bears are back in their home at noon on Sunday?
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that I'm semi concerned about is just weather, but obviously you're playing a dome team versus an outdoor team, and obviously advantage. And what makes me even more confident is the Saints are awful on the road so far this year. A 44-13 loss to the Seattle Seahawks. Granted, two good, decent teams, and then a 31-19 loss to the Bills. You're comfortable right at home. I think those were 3:05 and 12 noon games.
Yeah.
You're more comfortable at home on a noon start. And yes, seeing this team does not scare me, and especially being back at home with our comfortable 12 o'clock snap, I think the boys should be plenty prepared for this one.
Yeah, absolutely. The weather looks pretty shitty all weekend, so that field's going to be just an absolute slop fest. But I do think that does favor the Bears, just because, like you said, Saints play inside. They play in the warm weather. New Orleans is a warm city. When they're out walking around town, it's warm. Here in Chicago, it's not going to be cold necessarily, but it will be rainy and just shitty outside. So the advantage Bears there. But speaking of advantage Bears, I have a couple keys to victory written down here. One, I don't think the Saints are a good team. I think the Bears should kind of beat the Saints. Really, I don't see this game being in doubt, if I'm being honest. Like, this isn't a game I'm super worried about. But we saw it on Monday night. Sloppy weather can make weird things happen, so you never know. So one of the first things I want to talk about is, especially with the rainy and shitty conditions that are going to be expected on Sunday, build on the success that kind of the run game you found on Monday night. Seems like the offensive line issues have, I think that we're kind of in a good spot with the offensive line. I think we found the guys, especially if we're going to do a run-heavy offense, which I expect on Sunday. We talked about in the Monday recap show or the Tuesday recap show, like Theo Benedict, his strength is run blocking. So seeing him out there, I think that's going to be very helpful for the Bears. The Saints are right in the middle of the pack, giving up about 115 yards per game. Bears average like 105 yards a game. I can't remember what I wrote it down here somewhere. It's like 110 maybe, but that is based on them putting up like 150 yards or 170 yards on Monday. It was really bad before that. So the Bears are technically right in the middle of the pack, but I think they're still pretty low. But regardless, I think the Bears are trending in the right direction based on Monday. Not that the Commanders have a great run defense, but the Commanders are a good NFL team. So I do expect the Bears run game to kind of build off of the success they found on Monday night.
I totally agree. I mean, nothing could make me more encouraged after seeing that, knowing that we're going into a home game, sloppy game. You just showed that you can establish the run. Not a time to lean on it, but definitely keep your play calls 50-50 or a little bit more leaning towards the run, because you've shown you have success with the offensive line setup that you have right now. So lean on them. They like run blocking. All offensive linemen know they'd rather go out and hit somebody than receive them into their chest. So continue to do that. And DeAndre, ride him right now. I love DeAndre. I'm glad that he's having success, but he does feel like that running back that you just have to ride him while he's hot, because you never know when you're going to get a streak of 3 games to 5 games of him just putting up that 2.5 yards per carry, not finding holes, or God forbid, knock on wood, which my desk is, catch an injury, because we have a limited depth.
No, for sure. And also, like, DeAndre Swift isn't a guy that, you have to worry about like kind of shelving in like a non-contending year, because DeAndre Swift is, like, again, great player. He's had some big games for the Bears. He was the MVP of the Bears game on Monday night. He has had games in the past where he has been the best player on the Bears offense as well, but he is not in the Chicago Bears long-term plans. Like, he's just not. Like, next year, Bears are going to have a new running back. You can almost guarantee that. So, definitely feed him the ball, ride him while he's hot. Kyle Monangai probably going to get some touches in this game. I didn't see as much, or we might even see some Roshan Johnson in this game just to kind of, because I do think they're going to be running the ball a lot, and I think that they're going to need bodies to get touches.
Yeah.
So I would imagine if he does get touches, he'll be third. Like he'll be like, it'll be like DeAndre has like, 18, 20 rushes. Monangai has like 8 to 12 rushes, and then Roshan has like 3 to 5 rushes, something like that.
Mhm.
But I do think the Bears are going to run the ball a lot, and I think that I think they're going to have success. I think this defense can be run on, and the Bears have shown last game that they are at least capable of doing it. So that's number one. I think run the ball. Not only that, not only can it get you points, but also, just keep
Control
the
the
clock
game.
going.
Yeah,
control the game, control the clock. And then speaking of controlling the clock, controlling the game, the next big key I have is convert on third down. This was actually an issue on the Monday night game, but outside of that, the Bears have actually been pretty good at it. Bears are actually currently 7th in the NFL in third down conversions at 43%, which is crazy because they did not look great converting on third down on Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
But they are in the top of the NFL. They're number 7 in the NFL at converting third downs. Conversely, the Saints give up 41%, which is 24th in the NFL on the defensive side. So that tells me two things. That tells me, one, Saints just aren't a very good defense. They don't have the dudes, but also the Saints aren't very good at causing those negative plays that make you have like third and long situations, a lot of third and manageable, third and shorts. So stay ahead of the sticks, keep it third and manageable, third and short, and convert those third downs. You do that on top of the good running game, you're going to do whatever you want with the ball, and you're going to have the ball for a long time, and you're going to control the score, and you're going to score all the points. So that's kind of, convert third down.
This is along the lines of that, like you were saying, stay in front of the sticks. Like this would be a game that I'm very concerned if we continue this penalty trend, and it just continues the theme of this year of not being able to get our procedurals right or not be able to have our personnel do the right things, because this is by all means a team you should control at home in bad weather. Was that Noah Fant?
That was Noah Fant.
Was Noah Fant. All right. All right. I saw Paul pop up, and then I saw that too, and then I saw your head go sideways. So love it. So if nobody's paying attention, hey, we're hot. I had a Noah Fant and Jonnu Smith touchdown bet. So there you go.
There you go.
But like I was saying, is like this is one where we should see 4 to 5 penalties max through the whole game. That's what you're thinking. And if Ben Johnson, I'm sure he's preaching that because he knows that that's a major problem. So that's how you help your third down percentage. Like Nick was saying, is you don't have those and you're in front of the sticks and you have third and manageable, third and less than 6. And that can happen. So it's a great point that not a good team. So they're not necessarily forcing the pressure to where those procedurals should happen. And at the same time, you should be able to convert those at a higher clip.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And also just like you have these third and short, hopefully, ideally you're going to get, you're going to run the ball. You're going to be successful. You're going to have third and short. The running game then comes into play as well as maybe pick your shots with some play action stuff. So anyway, we'll see. Bears need to convert on third down like they've kind of been doing all season, minus this past game. So another thing, again, the other key here I have is that the Bears, like I said, I don't think the passing game is really going to be. I don't think either team's going to put up gaudy passing numbers in this game. Just one, because of the weather, and two, because neither of these teams are really built for that. So I have here as a key, stop the run, because, well, one, that's just defense 101, but two, in this game particularly, there's going to be a lot of running. So, the Saints have the combination of Alvin Kamara and Kendre Miller, which average about 109 yards. They're actually right behind the Bears in rush yards per game at 109 yards per game, and the Bears are at 111. I think the Saints are 19th and the Bears are 18th. But again, the Bears are so inflated from Monday night. But so the Saints aren't a great run team anyway. Bears defense is 31st in the NFL against the run. giving up almost 170 yards per game, which is a lot. But again, we're kind of taking a lot of things. We're hoping that Monday night was like a stepping stone game for them to kind of turn a new leaf, because Monday night, even though the Commanders did put up still like 125 rushing yards, it was significantly better, like noticeably better. Most of those I think Jay brought it up on Tuesday night show. A lot of those runs were focused on like 2 Jaden Daniels like long scrambles. Outside of those, like the Bears had like under 70 rushing yards. So I do think the Bears defense, I mean, hopefully this becomes a trend and the Bears rushing defense is better, because you can't give up 170 rushing yards per game and expect to win many games in the NFL. That's just not going to happen.
And
so,
I think too, Alvin Kamara is only getting older. One, yeah. Kendra Miller is more of like a kind of, he looks like a bruiser, bigger running back. Also, if you didn't look at this too, Nick, Spencer Rattler's got 26 carries for 143 yards on the ground for a 5.5 clip. I mean, I know he's a small, little more agile guy, but that's interesting to me. I don't think he's breaking the pocket that often to do that, but Alvin Kamara is your focus. You're not having another, 2-3 years ago Christmas where he just goes off on you. But I think you're starting to see the fact of like Alvin Kamara cannot be leaned on to win a game anymore.
Yeah.
He's older. He doesn't have the dynamic cutting or breakaway speed that he might have had 2 to 5 years ago or 2 to 4 years ago. And especially if one facet of their offense in the past is not consistently working, you can stack the box on him. And that's what I think a big component of Dennis Allen is going to be, that like, he knows how he can stop the run. And we've also gotten a lot of takeaways. So lean on that heavy box setup to be what helps your secondary and helps Spencer Rattler make mistakes.
Yeah. When you were talking about Kendra Miller, talking about how he's like kind of like a bruiser. I don't know. He wears number 5. And when I think about the Saints number 5, I just think back to Reggie Bush. So I was definitely thinking that I haven't seen a lot of Saints games this year. I definitely thought he was like a Bush type, where he catches the ball in the backfield and is incredibly elusive and fast in the open field. I don't think that's the case. I'm doing a little bit of research on the side, and I don't think that is the case. So I think you're right. But we'll see. But yeah, I mean, Alvin Kamara, he's getting up there in age. He's shouldered a lot of the load for the Saints the past like 4 or 5 years, because they've been pretty bad on offense besides him. And I think that's starting to show a little bit in his play. I mean, I don't know how old he is. It's probably gonna be one of those things where I look it up and it's shocking how young he is.
He's got he's in his 30s.
He's 30.
Okay. Yeah.
30. Yeah. Which, by human standards, very young. NFL running back standards, especially one with as much, carries and stuff on his weight and his career as Kamara, that's very old. So, Kamara, I mean, the run game doesn't scare you for the Saints as much as the Bears' run defense has shown that it can scare you a little bit. So that's kind of why this is the key to the game, is just stop the run. Let's just, let's focus on the run. The Saints do have the passing game is, I mean, again, I don't think the Saints are a good team, so they don't really have a lot of skill, but the Saints do have Rashid.
I know what you're going for. Rashid. Shit, you got me doing it. Rashid Shaheed.
Rashid Shaheed. That was
a tough one.
That was a tough one. Rashid Shaheed, who is
Olave is still out there.
No, Olave, he's a good player, but Rashid Shaheed is a player that he is like he's just fast. He's a deep guy. He is your standard classic deep threat. He's not even like a Tyreek Hill where they have a lot of other things. Like, his game is run straight, outrun people, catch ball. That's it. And he's very good at that.
Defense.
Yeah, he's very good at that. And then you have Chris Olave underneath. But I feel like Chris Olave is just always injured. And I think he's actually on the injury report this week, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's okay. But, yeah, he's got a hip injury, so he'll probably be fine. But, But yeah, so like the Saints, they have some weapons on the outside, but again, I don't think this game script is going to call for a lot of passing. And I also just don't, Spencer Rattlers looked okay. They won a game against the Giants a few weeks ago, but the passing game doesn't really scare me in the slightest bit.
The thing, so we were saying it so badly. Rashid Shaheed.
Yeah,
Rashid
Shaheed.
Rashid Shaheed. I think too. I've had him on a lot of fantasy teams. A quintessential bugaboo for him throughout his short career has been drops. And you talk about weather. You talk about not a lot of deep passing on the Chicago Bears field. That does not mix for a good recipe for that dude.
Yeah.
And Olave being questionable is great to see. Juwan Johnson is their third leading receiver, and that dude probably catches every third ball as well.
Yeah.
A throwback. I didn't even realize who their third wide receiver was, and this dude went all the way back. It's Brandon Cooks.
Oh, wow.
Cooks made the full circle.
Wow.
Brandon Cooks. I was just looking up there. 13 catches for 124. That dude's probably retiring next year and just wanted to retire as a Saint. But it really doesn't scare me in the slightest that they're setting up on the opposite side. But who knows? That could be a surprising thing to us if we get some sort of clear weather, as we're talking about weather right now, Spencer Rattler starts to throw the ball for some reason.
Yeah, you brought up Brandon Cooks. I didn't realize he was on the Saints this year. That's crazy. That dude has had such a weird career because like he's gone everywhere. He's like gone somewhere, played for a year or two, and then been traded. But like he's always been pretty good for like the heart of his career. Like he was a solid player. He was good on the Patriots. He was good on the Rams. He was good on the Texans. He was good on the Saints. Like he's good on all these teams, and they just like trade him for whatever reason. What a weird career that guy had. Or is having, I should say, because he's technically still playing.
Just a stud. He used to be a stud slot guy. You could slot him in like the fourth round of your fantasy drafts. Going to get you 8 touchdowns, but also like he was like Antonio Brown light. If you will.
Like super light, like ultra light.
Super light. Obviously not like to the capacity that man was doing it, but just
he reminded me. You know who he reminded me of a lot in his peak was like, you remember Mike Wallace for the Steelers and eventually for the Dolphins? He was kind of like that dude, just a fast dude, didn't really have another skill set besides that, but was very good at what he did. Kind of like Rashid Shaheed, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot in common as well. So yeah, again, like the Saints offense doesn't really scare me a lot. The only thing about the Saints offense that scares me is that they're going to be lining up against the Bears defense, who has looked very bad a lot of times this year. So that makes me a little nervous, but again, they have been playing better lately, so hopefully that's not the case moving forward. And then the last key that I have is just I throw this on every week because it's a very important part of the game. Get pressure on the quarterback. The numbers don't really show it. I think the Bears technically sacked Jaden Daniels. What would we say 2 times? I think
2 to 3. I don't
2
even
or 3.
know.
It was
the box score.
Yeah, one of them might have been like technically a no gain, so it might be why they didn't call it a sack in one. But anyway, the Bears got 2 sacks, we'll call it. But they did have a lot of pressure. They were in his face a lot, and Spencer Rattler. While he is a mobile quarterback and he's somewhat elusive, he's no Jaden Daniels. I think we can all agree on that. So I do think that if you get a little pressure on him, you're going to have more success getting sacks. Also, he seems like a kind of guy who is likely to, like, maybe just because what his last name is, he might get rattled, if you will, if he gets pressure on him. So I do think that there's a good chance that the Bears can get pressure and get him rattled, get some turnovers, make some negative plays, stuff like that. And for what it's worth, the Saints offense, they're right in the middle of the pack. They give up just over 2 sacks a game. So they're not terrible. They're right in the middle of the pack. So, but I do think if Bears can get pressure, that could cause turnovers. Like, I don't think it's crazy to think strip sacks are going to be a thing in this game with the weather the way it is. I don't think, interceptions could be a thing with, bad handle on the ball. So get pressure, make him, speed things up and maybe get some turnovers out of that.
Yeah, it's 100% a team that plays I think a lot of New Orleans' stats are inflated because they play from the back foot. They haven't led in a lot of games, so they're having to throw. They're having to do a lot of things that are semi uncomfortable because it's not their forte. So if you can keep that pressure on them, and Spencer Rattler especially, then I'm waiting because they're a 1-5 team, and Nick, maybe this is a little bit of fantasy hopefulness. I have Tyler Show on my
On your dynasty
on my
team.
bench in Dynasty.
Yeah.
So I'm just hoping, keep burying this team, and maybe Tyler Show will come out and make himself relevant. So maybe it's a bargaining chip somewhere in that dynasty.
Yeah, and I'm going to fight you on that because I have Spencer Rattler on the bench of my dynasty team. So I'm hoping that he figures it out, not this week, but eventually, and is the starter for a long time in New Orleans. I drafted Spencer Rattler last year in like the third round, like one of my last picks. Had him on my roster all season, dropped him early this season. Jay picked him up and traded him back to me for DeAndre Swift and his like second rounder next year. So all's well that ends well. Got him back. But he was not a big piece of the trade. He was just like a throw on. But anyway. So yeah, the barely qualified backup, bench quarterback bowl this week, I guess, for Dynasty. So
yeah, we'll figure it out. Well, I have Caleb. You have
Caleb. You have all the quarterback. We're not playing each other though. That'd be funny if we were playing each other. But anyway, so keys to the game. Just once again, I mean, some of these are just going to be there every game for me, but run the ball, build the success last week, run the ball. One thing I didn't mention that I probably should have mentioned, I have it written down here and I just skipped over it. Let's get some touchdowns. Let's stop settling for field goals. Let's punch into the end zone. I think that you look back at the Commanders game, and Jay said this. He said this in the Vikings game. He said this at this game too. At halftime, he's like, the Bears should be winning by like 10 points right now.
Yeah,
and he was right. So let's get the ball in the end zone. Let's stop relying on a field goal, especially with the field the way it's going to be probably. Again, I just looked at the weather. There's a good chance of rain on Sunday. It's going to like storm all day Saturday. So the field's going to be sloppy. So let's get the ball in the end zone and let's stop relying on field goals. I think that's fair.
It's been nice. It has been nice. I'll say, Nick, it has been nice seeing out of the bye, and we kind of talked about it, so I don't want to stop too long for it. But it was nice seeing the fact that you would have consistent success. We weren't getting into a spot where it was like, okay, first drive was a touchdown, and then we're going on a drive drought where you don't see a lot of gaining of yards. At least we were getting down the field, and that's what gave you the positivity of success was going to happen sooner rather than later. You want that consistency, but let's not go too long without touchdowns because we don't want to bring back our past years' experiences of being like, when are we going to see a first quarter touchdown again? That sort of thing. God. So, yeah.
Speaking of that, I sent a text to the group during the Bears game on Monday night that they put up a graphic. I don't remember exactly what the number was, but the Bears have already scored more first quarter points than they did all of last season, which is just crazy. I mean, they've been pretty good in the first quarter this year, but they haven't been like the best first quarter team in the NFL by a long shot. They were just so fucking bad coming out of the gate last season. We talked about it every single week. I don't think they scored a first quarter touchdown for the first like 9-10 games of the season last year. It was awful. Like they just could not come out of the gate, which is really all about coaching, which I don't want to dive too much into last year's stuff. Yeah. But when you don't have good coaches, you're not going to come out. You're not going to have a good script, and you're not going to come out hot. So at least the Bears have that right now. So that's good. So anyway, build on the run game, get touchdowns, not field goals, convert on third down, stop the run, get pressure on the quarterback. You do 4 of those 5 things at a good level, you're going to win this game pretty easily. So those are the keys to the game. I do want to talk some injuries. This part of the show used to be a much more important part of the show, a much longer part of the show that needed a lot more time to talk about. But the good news here is that the Bears seem to be getting healthy again, which is great. This doesn't need to be here. So, Bears are getting healthier. Grady Jarrett likely to miss the game still with his knee injury. Not sure why he's not an IR because it doesn't seem like he's practiced in a month.
Yeah.
But either way, and we're probably going to get another Jake Moody game for the Bears, as Cairo Santos also has not participated in practice this week, including today. The good news, DJ Moore was practicing today in a limited role after being out with his groin injury that kept him in the hospital on Monday night in
Very weird.
Washington.
Yeah.
It's been weird because he got hurt early, came back into the game. He was favoring it a little bit, like you could tell, but like that happens in every game. And then he finished the game. He was there the whole time. And then all of a sudden, Jay mentioned, like, oh, yeah, DJ Moore was in the hospital last night. I was like, what?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Hospital
But-
is with a groin injury. You're just like,
Yeah.
what? It could be that serious, but yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, he is practicing. Go ahead.
I have one question for you, Nick.
Yeah.
It is on my mind, not that like it needs to be a theme or anything like that.
Yeah.
I know Ben Johnson said the other day in a press conference, when Cairo is healthy, he is our kicker. Is it going to be like, is that one of those things where it's like, hey, guess what? You're not healthy. You're going on IR. We're paying you. Guess what? We're going to ride this kid and see if it goes. Like, not like I'm trying to make a story out of nothing, but like,
Yeah.
it certainly is something that broaches your mind after the week that Jake Moody had and what he could do. But yeah, is that like, does that tickle your fancy that could be something that they're concocting?
You know, it's interesting because looking at my notes from last game, Moody hit a 47-yard field goal. He hit a 48-yard field goal, I believe. What were the distances on? I don't know what the last one was, but he was hitting field goals.
3 40-yarders and then the 38 to win.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was like they were like 47, 48-yard field goals. Like he was like on the north end in the 40s. So he made those kicks. Cairo, like, I feel like those are kicks that are in his range too, and he's pretty accurate at those. I know he missed one early this year, and I roasted him for it. But I'm not sure. I think if Moody went out there and he was like hitting like 55-yard field goals with like room to spare, I'd be like, yeah, get this guy on the team for good. We know he's got the leg because in college he was one of the best kickers in the country, and kicking is one of those positions that like it doesn't change from college to pros. Like the hashes are not as wide, which makes it a little bit easier, I think. But besides that, the motions are the same. That's one. The speed doesn't affect you as a kicker. Like it's pretty much the same thing. So it's in there somewhere. I think I'd be okay with if they want to go with Kyle Moody moving forward instead of Cairo Santos, just because I've been on the fence about Cairo. We've been talking about his leg, his distance issues. He can't kick. Well, like, when he lines up for a 52-yard field goal, your knees are clicking together because you're nervous about it. And in the NFL, kickers are routinely hitting 58, 60-yard field goals now, which is crazy. So you'd like to have somebody with that distance. One thing I don't want to sacrifice distance for inaccuracy, though. That's the thing.
Yes.
So in the moment, I was mad at Cairo and I wanted to get a kicker that could do it. But it does take a very special kicker to be able to hit the 60-yard field goals and be like 95% inside 40 yards.
Yes.
And based on what Moody did in San Francisco, he's not the guy. But kickers are, like, I talked about this when the Bears claimed him on their practice squad. I feel like kickers are kind of like relievers in baseball sometimes, where like a change of scenery really does work with them.
Mhm.
Just like a different like voice in your head, a different coach, different whatever, different field, whatever the case may be. I do think that kickers are kind of like relievers in that sense. So they may have stumbled on like third round drafted kicker or fourth round drafted kicker. So that's pretty good.
And Chicago, make no mistake about it, is a tough place to kick.
Yeah.
It's the natural grass field. Like
Around
I
the
think the longest we've ever seen career long for any kicker is like 59 yards. So like, this could be a proving spot. Not that I want to make a theme out of kicking. We've talked it to death already, but this could be one where it's good to see. Yeah. Can the kid kick in a place that you would kick 55% of your games?
Yeah. And I don't know. So one thing I don't know, like, because I remember even like when Robbie Gould was on the Bears, right? He was like such a good kicker for the Bears. I don't like. He was never like known for his like strong leg. He was just always very accurate.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that was like he played his games in Chicago thing, or if that was like he just didn't have a strong leg. I'm not really sure. But it seems like the Bears, in my memory, have never really just like had a kicker who could just like, yeah, he's going to go out there, he's going to bury this 55-yarder. You don't have to like really work. Like he might not make it, but he's going to have the distance every time. Like I can't remember that ever being a thing for a Bears kicker. And yeah, I mean, those kicks that Moody hit were low and they were like line drives, but I do feel like if he needed to kick it for the distance, I think he could have. Like they were saying, didn't they say he made like a 58-yarder in warmups or something like that, or like a 60-yarder in warmups or something? So
yeah,
so that you like to see that. But yeah, so anyway, the injury report this week, though, like I was saying, DJ Moore, he will be there, which is good to see. Definitely was worried he would not be able to be there. You know, you hear a guy spend the night in the hospital, you're definitely not thinking he's going to be good to go that week. But he sounds like he might be. DeAndre Swift did show up on the injury report today with a limited participant with an ankle injury, but limited participant on Thursday typically means they're going to go unless they're coming back from a devastating injury or something like that. And he was fine. He played on Monday. My guess is this is probably just like regular maintenance kind of thing. So I'm sure he'll be going. The good news about the injury report also, no TJ Edwards, no Kyler Gordon in any way on this injury report. They are completely off. They are full participants with no tags associated with their name at all. So that's good. The only people that didn't play, like I said, Grady Jarrett with the knee injury, Cairo Santos with the, whatever, his thigh, and then Noah Sewell, who we saw have that pretty nasty concussion, the game on Monday night. He'll probably miss a couple weeks. Hopefully he has a speedy recovery and he's good to go. But it definitely, when he got hit and went down, it definitely looked like it was much worse than a concussion. It looked like it was, a neck or something like that.
Big boy just lumbering into you. That's a one, like, fine, take your time, get back, get right, because you hurry that back, that's a residual effect.
Correct. That's going to lead to more and more and more and more. Yeah, absolutely. It's a slippery slope. So you definitely got to make sure you take your time. But yeah, honestly, the Bears injury report looks like this is the shortest I've seen it. And most of the players on it are full participants or limited participants. They're not, there's only 3 DNPs on here. So this is great. Getting healthy right in the middle of the season. Let's keep that trend going too. Let's stay healthy. And the Saints injury report, Kamara's on here with a ankle injury. I also think that kind of similar to DeAndre Swift, the Saints are probably just keeping him out of a practice just to like give him some more recovery time. I don't know if he has a nagging injury. I assume as a 30-year-old running back, he has several nagging injuries right now. But it sounds like he's going to play. Chris Olave, like I said, he's got a hip injury. He was a full participant today, so he'll be going on Sunday. And then the rest of the players on here, I'm not really familiar with. I think they're reserve guys more than anything. So both teams are relatively healthy, which is interesting. So the Bears. Like I said before, the Saints are not a good team. I expect the Bears to be in control of this game from start to finish and win easily. I will be putting a bet on the Bears minus 4.5, maybe even taking an alternate line because I do think the Saints are a very bad team. And maybe this is me getting cocky after one big win, but I also don't care. I think the Bears are a decent team. I think the Saints are a bad team. So,
the biggest thing is it's for me. We'll get into more of the reasons why we're picking what we're picking. Obviously, we pick the Bears game every time, but it's handle your business. These next 4 weeks are going to be really telling of how early on the success schedule we are.
Yeah.
Can you handle the teams that you should handle, win the games that you should win? Holy shit, did Joe Flacco just scramble for 12 yards? Yes, he did.
Really? I'm like 10 seconds behind you.
I just watched that naked bootleg by Joe Flacco right there. That was, well, not naked, but just a wow.
Oh, that's funny.
That was like the Peyton Manning boot where nobody was around him for 25 yards. But yeah, win the games that you have to. And we'll get into our picks for the Bears little bit later when we get in the 3-man weave, 2-man weave tonight. But that wrap it up for Bears talk.
Yeah, that's it for Bears talk. So, Drew, I'm going to kick it over to you to kind of take the reins. We're going to talk fantasy stuff. So why don't you go ahead and got to read for you here.
Yeah, let's get down to it. Let's talk the fantasy corner. We'll get into Guillotine League. We'll get into everything else here, but really quickly, going to talk to you, BQ Army, about a place called Chuck's Southern Comforts Buffet on Cass, just off of 55 in Darien. Chuck's has got great food and drinks. If you're looking for barbecue and drink specials every day of the week, and for Bears games especially, you can find a link to those, all their specials and their menu in our descriptions and bios on our socials. $3 PBRs, $5 Yingling pints, and more for Sunday specials. But with a wide open layout for bar patrons, seated dinner guests, and private event spaces, Chuck's really has it all. So they've got slots, you can game with them, and you got to get down to Chuck's Southern Comforts Buffet anytime that you can and tell them that the BQ boys sent you. So, Nick, let's talk a little guillotine. We are now in the comfort zone. I think we got 2 viewers right now who might be in our guillotine league. Eric is in our guillotine league. Maybe Mooj is watching. Maybe Mooj, you gotta join next year if you do. But we are now in the comfort zone of fantasy. We're in 12-team league motion right now. And really, this is where things are going to get down to the nitty-gritty. We got Fabs still coming out the wazoo. Justin Jefferson going for 402. Your buddy Adam really finally got off the schneid and got his fab out and got him. I think that's a maybe not a steal, but I think that's a good one, especially
that might be a league winner right there.
Yeah, you're past the bye. Wide receiver 1's going to come out. That dude's going to have his targets. He's always going to. Next closest was 375, so it was an easy take. Jen's team wasn't as deep as some others in this league. So you've got Alvin Kamara at 127, Chris Olave at 125, Bill at 101, Diggs at 15. And then I'm seeing a lot of waiver / free agent pickups. And I think that's going to be a theme going forward of like, there's not a lot of fab out there, or you don't want to spend your fab. So we're just going to wait and hope that this player is open. But crazy thing is all projections are above 100 this week. And I'm on the chopping block at 106 with the person who is on
Cleveland Delinquents is your buddy.
That's Tyler.
Tyler,
our buddy Ty. He is at 105. So that's going to be interesting. That's going to be really fun to see. How are you feeling this week?
So I'm feeling really good right now. I, for the second week in a row, have a player kind of showing out on Thursday Night Football. I have both Jamar Chase and Jaylen Warren, who are having pretty good games right now. DK Metcalf is also playing. He's having a fine game, nothing special. But right now I am at 60 points. My live projection is like 127. So I'm feeling pretty comfortable right now. But to kind of go more into what you said about the like everybody was projected over 100 points, there was only 15 points that separated the lowest person on projections to the highest person on projections coming into this Thursday night game, which I feel like is crazy for a 12-team league. It's not crazy, but just it's like we've been seeing a much higher disparity the past whole time we've been doing this. So it's really coming down to it's getting really interesting. And I think that, the next few weeks, it's going to be even more interesting because like you said, the waiver wire is going to start to be a thing because not only are there going to be good players that don't get fob money, but people in our league are going to have to drop good players off their team to get better players. So there's going to be like a secondary waiver market that's going to be pretty big too. It's going to be very interesting to see how it goes the next few weeks. I am curious to see what that secondary waiver market ends up looking like once people start dropping legitimate starters for better players.
Yeah, we're talking 2:30 a.m. wake ups, 3 a.m. wake ups of like I gotta set my alarm and make sure we're getting that done. I will say also looking at some of the FOB money, like there's a few contenders out there. Well, Aaron Rodgers touchdown just got me $1,400. Holy cow.
Who to go
We're
to?
feeling good.
DK?
No, unfortunately
Damn.
not. I think that was Freiermuth.
Whoa. You could have given me 8 guesses and I would have not guessed Freiermuth, the tight end,
At
catching like a
Freiermuth for
70-yard
like a
touchdown.
70.
That's crazy. That's nuts.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
the
God.
meat, man.
The Muth.
But so I mean, we only have 3 people on here with more than $800. So yeah, the FOB money again. You kind of got to spend it while you got it.
Yeah.
If you lose out on that, then you're going down with a pocket full of cash. But
Yeah, I mean, we saw it with who was it? Not this week, but last week that lost. They had a good team. Just had a bad week. They ran into a bad week, and their whole team was just that's there was a lot of players available that we all got to pick from because they just had a bad week and they lost. They were not projected to lose. So this game is you have one bad week, you're out. So got to spend your money if you got it. No
Spend
point.
it while
I've
you
seen
got
a couple people have been eliminated with $1,000 $5 still. So you never know. Your team can never be good enough.
yeah, I think you're looking at you're in a decent safe zone right now. 60.60. Not trying to put a curse on you or anything, but that looks pretty good with some money games left to go. But yeah, we'll let you guys know who gets chopped next week. Everybody keep in line. If you have it later, you get any player you want. Okay, thanks, Eric. But if you lose, you don't have it at all. So appreciate you for saying that.
I mean, it's true. It's like those people that when they're doing an auction draft, they don't spend top dollar on one of the best players.
Sure.
So that way, when you get to the end, you can take whoever you want. So it's really it's always going to be a balancing act with when there's any kind of auction action in a fantasy thing. Do you want to spend and be good and make sure you have a good team now, or do you want to wait around and hopefully your team keeps on I don't know. I feel like everything I do in this league is a benefit to me because I probably should have lost week 1. I probably should have been the first person chopped. Like I said before, I've said this many times, but it was me and Margaret head to head basically, and Jared Goff threw an absolute garbage time touchdown that got me advanced. I would have been chopped if it wasn't for that touchdown. So I am looking at this as I'm free house money right now. So
that's what fantasy does for you, though.
I know.
You get those miracles at the end that just extend everything for you. But okay, we'll let you guys all know what's going on with the barely qualified Guillotine League next week when it gets down to 11 and eliminate 7. Now we're going to move on to some fantasy pick'em.
Yes.
Nick, give a little outline of how everyth's going in that realm.
Yeah. So again, if you're not familiar with our fantasy pick'em segment, Jay, Drew, and I, just Drew and I tonight, because again, Jay is not here. We'll get his picks and we'll post them. We'll make sure we mention it to the podcast listeners. Drew and I, we're going to pick one quarterback, one running back, one wide receiver, and one flex each. And we're going to use standard half-point PPR scoring. And we're going to see who has the best. We're going to go head-to-head each week, but then we're going to do, at the end of the year, we're going to do a prize for the winner. I have hit a little bit of a rut myself. I think I caught whatever Jay had for a couple weeks, and then he kind of took over for where I was going. So last week, Jay led the team, led the barely qualified group with 70.44. Drew, you had 66 points. So you're right behind him. You're in the lead overall. I put up 46.9 points. I had a very bad week. I'm going to blame it all on Puka Nacua getting hurt. I think my team would have been better for that. Calvin Ridley also got hurt. That kind of sucked for me. And also, Josh Jacobs had a nice game. So that was nice. I'm glad that happened. So that's where the standings are right now. Drew, you are in the lead with 348. Jay has overtaken me with second place by literally 0.12 points. He's at 327.64. I'm at 327.52. So Drew's got a little bit of a lead, but it's only 21 points. Fantasy football, that's really not much. I'm sorry. Yeah, 21 points. My math's right.
Mhm.
So we're kind of all right in the same area. So yeah, it's actually getting pretty interesting. I feel like last year, was it you that won last year? You
No, you won.
I didn't win. It must have been Jay.
Then it must have been Jay.
Yeah. Jay kind of
was
ran
one
away
of
with it towards the end. I
Yeah.
was out of it for a long time. So we got a nice battle right now through 6 weeks. Yeah, I mean, and just to kind of Drew, you had a great pick with Rico Dowdle last week, back-to-back monster games for him. And then Jay picked Dak Prescott and George Pickens, that stack, which was very plentiful for points last week for him. So we're gonna go ahead and do it. Drew, I'm gonna let you go ahead and make the first pick, and we'll just kind of, you go one, then I'll wrap around two, then you go wrap around two. We'll just snake it that way.
Snake through. Okay. I'm down for it. I am going to go with a night game pick, back-to-back night games for this guy. He had an absolute monster, so I'm continuing the trend of try to follow your monsters and get one. I'm picking my wide receiver 1, and it is going to be Drake London this week. Dude, Michael Penix is focused on that man. Mm-hmm. If Bijan is having a game or not having a game, you can trust that Drake London's going to get his targets from Michael Penix. So just watch for that for sure.
Yeah. And all right. So I do like that pick. Drake London has really come on the last few weeks. The Falcons offense has really come on a lot in the past few weeks, mainly Drake London and Bijan Robinson. But yeah, you're right. Penix does look for Drake London like a true number 1 wide receiver. So it's good to see him start to play like that. And it's good to see the Falcons like early draft picks, like really doing what they're kind of drafted to do. So yeah, I like that pick a lot. Who are the Falcons playing this week? I don't even know.
It's a night game, Sunday night game.
Oh, it's I have it. It's
San Francisco.
Yeah, San Francisco. I like that pick a lot. All right, so I am going to take. I'm going to take my quarterback right now, and I am going to kind of piggyback off of what Jay did last week. I'm going to take Dak Prescott. I haven't taken him yet, and I think he is going to put up a lot of numbers this week. There's going to be a lot of points in that Commanders Cowboys game. So I think they have the highest over-under on the board this week. So I'm going to take Dak Prescott for my quarterback. And then for my running back, I'm going to piggyback off of what you did last week. I'm going to take Rico Dowdle to hopefully make it a turkey 3 in a row. The Panthers have a game at New York Giants, who have a very bad run defense. I expect a heavy dose of Rico Dowdle this week. So that is my 2 picks.
Makes sense. I mean, you also, when you find a hot hand in a backup running back or
you got to ride
replacement running back, you got to ride him and take him as long as you possibly can. So Rico Dowdle is going to be on a lot of lists. I'd be surprised, or I wouldn't be surprised if like he's on trading blocks everywhere for everybody.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh,
okay,
no.
T. Higgins, go get it. This is a great game. This was a game that I was not expecting to be like as good at it as it actually is. Great game.
Shout out to the Cleveland Browns for trading Joe Flacco to the Bengals, because this game would have been an absolute stinker if we had to watch what's his face, Jake Browning out here. So shout out to the Browns. Thank you for doing that.
Make that division like a contention. As we all thought it should be. But
yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to get into a stack pick that should happen. I'm going to go with Michael Penix as my quarterback.
Yep.
Kind of knew that was going to happen. Had a decent game last week, not amazing, but I think if it was a game that was going to be not a night game, I would probably not pick either of those guys, but I kind of like them under the lights, and after they had a good game together, I'm gonna stack them, and then I am gonna do something that I probably shouldn't, but I like him, and I really think Patrick Mahomes is catching fire. I'm gonna take first week Rashee Rice as my flex. He's coming off, and I think that dude is gonna be focused, hyper focused. and get a lot of catches, maybe not a touchdown, but Patrick Mahomes is going to get that dude involved right away to show that they are a offense that is not to be messed with.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to feed this man the ball this week. I think that's a great pick. I didn't think about it just because he has been out, but now that you say that, I do think that's a great pick. I think that he's going to get 12 catches in this game. So I do like that a lot. So I am also going to stack, as I typically do, as we all typically do. We all love a good stack, but I'm not going to stack the way you think I'm going to stack. I've already taken George Pickens, so I'm going to use my flex to put my first tight end of the season. I'm going to flex Dalton Schultz this week.
Ooh, I like that.
Dude is a ball magnet. He catches everything. He gets like 15 targets a game. So I am going to take Dalton Schultz here. And then I'm going to round it out with my wide receiver. I am between two, and I think I'm going to take I'm trying to think of who they play this week, so I don't have it written down right now. I'm just going to take Cortland Sutton for the Broncos. I think he has had a couple not so great games in a row, and I think he's going to put it all together and get himself back in the end zone this week. So, why don't you go ahead and finish us off with your running back?
Yeah, I hesitate to do this just because he's been and looks at list. I don't know what's up with the Philadelphia Eagles. But they got to do something to get this man involved all the time. Maybe you go a game script that is like 85% run and get the ball in Saquon Barkley's hands. But it has to happen, right, Nick? It has to happen sometime. Maybe it's the fact that I just watched the Saquon documentary on Amazon Prime, but like, got to get him involved. And if it's a season that he is just, it's a downtick and not what he had, you got to take him sometime. So I think I'm going Saquon. It's probably a risky pick right now, but it's at Minnesota in a dome. So you hope that he has a huge game script on his hands.
Yeah, no, I mean, the Eagles, they need to get Saquon involved. You look at, so last year they were the best team in the NFC and they won the Super Bowl, and Saquon Barkley had over 2,000 rushing yards, was the focal point of their offense. This year, it seems like they're listening to the critics a lot and they're trying to get, Jalen Hurts involved in the passing game and get the receivers involved so that they can be happy and get their catches. Yeah, just do what got you the Super Bowl last year, right? Like, this is crazy. Like, get Saquon the ball. Like, it's not even like he's having like bad games. He's just not getting the ball. I don't understand it. Yeah. He's the best running back in the NFL. Give the man the ball. Let him do his thing.
You've lost 2 straight. You got to figure something out. Go back to what works.
100%. All right. Well, we will tabulate those scores. We'll make sure we get Jay's in there as well, and we'll have an update for you guys next week. So, with that, we're going to go into our betting segment, the first betting segment of the day. This is a segment, the My Dogs Are Hungry segment, where we collectively went over 3 last week. So not a great showing by your boys, but again, we're going to get it this week, so stay tuned. Last week I had the Titans plus 4.5. They did not come close. Drew, you had the Jags plus 1.5. They lost by 8. And Jay had the Lions plus 2.5 at the Chiefs, and the Chiefs beat them by, I think, 13 or something like that. It was 30 to 17.
It wasn't a good week for dogs, period.
Yeah. So it wasn't a great week for us. Overall, Jason is at the rear with he's 2-4 on the season. Drew and I are both 3-3 on the season. So I think we're all about to get really hot. So, Drew, I'm going to let you go ahead and give me your first, or your dogs are hungry. Who's your dog this week?
Yeah. Thank you for starting with me, because I think there's one game in my eyes that stands out for dog of the week. Thank God Joe Flacco needed to win that game. Good win for them.
I had the fucking Bengals plus 4.5. I wish I was taking a money line, but you know what?
I'm not going to complain about a win. Too. Sorry, hey guys, we would have won.
Yeah.
No, I am taking the Bucks this week. I'm going to take the Bucks plus 5.5. It's a Monday night game. It's Baker Mayfield under the lights. I know it's Detroit. Detroit scores, and they're going to score against the Bucs. You cannot count Baker Mayfield out this year right now, especially in a primetime game, that he is less than a field goal. So I'm sorry, more than a field goal. So that's why I'm taking the Bucs. It might have not been your first, but right now Baker Mayfield winning games just is working, and I think we both have him as front runner as MVP, and I hope this isn't a setback. But I really do think that the Bucs, yes, albeit injured, they find ways to stay in games, especially high shootout games.
Yeah.
They get everybody involved. So yeah, I like the Bucs under the lights, especially when it totals 52.5 and they're only getting 5.5. That means they know they're going to score. In Detroit, after getting smacked last week, yeah, they go back home, but just give me Bake with that.
Yeah. No, I do like that. That was the number one that I had written down as well. So I agree with you there. So I do like that pick a lot, and I will be betting that independently of this, just as a solo bet as well. So love that pick. And Baker MVP, I think right now, if the season ended right now, Baker is the MVP, not only for his numbers and the sheer will to win that he has. You look at his top 3 receivers are down. Like that's, and he's still putting up numbers. So it's crazy. Baker Mayfield, what a story. Love that guy. Love that pick. So I am going to take, this is, sorry, I'm just watching the Hail Mary in real time, and it's batted down just the way it should be.
That dude can throw that ball that far still.
He's got a fucking
41 years old.
I know. Nuts.
Jeez.
But anyway, that dude is Aaron Rodgers, by the way. Yeah. He just threw a Hail Mary, seriously, like 75 yards. He launched that ball. But anyway, so my pick, I'm going to take, I believe it's one of the Monday night games next week. I'm going to take, I don't love it. I mean, I do love it, but it's weird taking this, but I'm going to take Houston +3 at Seattle. Mm-hmm. Seattle is like a weird team to me where they're good. They just went to Jacksonville and beat the Jaguars last week, who are also good. But something about the Texans, I think they're really starting to turn something around. They've been mauling people their last 2 games. They had a bye last week, so I think the Texans are really about to go on a nice little run here. So I am taking the Texans +3 in this game.
Yeah, I really do like that. That was my 3 pick, but every loss that they've had, 5 points, 1 point, 7 points, so within 1 score. And then yes, they beat the Titans 26-0, and yes, they beat the Ravens without Lamar 44-10. But I feel like you're right, Nick. They see what's in their in front of them of the Indianapolis Colts, and they have to, pedal to metal has to happen. Otherwise they're going to get lapped. So yeah, it's an interesting game. I got to ask you this.
Yeah.
I don't think we've gotten into this. How are you feeling about these 2 Monday night games?
I'm not a fan. I don't love, like, Monday night is kind of a fun, like, my whole life for, years before I was alive. Monday Night Football is like a cool standalone, everybody watching the same game. You can go to the office the next day, be like, oh, that game last night was crazy. And they know what you're talking about because it was only a game on TV. I am a 1 TV house right now. Like, I mean, I have multiple TVs, but like not in the same area. Like I don't have 2 TVs in my family room, even though I'd love to. My wife won't let me. So it's always like a TV and like a laptop, or a TV and an iPad, or a TV and a phone situation. I don't like it. Last week I didn't really know much about the Falcons game because I was watching the Bears game the whole time. I caught the first quarter or whatever was on because they started a little bit before the Bears. But, when that happens, I just don't really get to watch the other game. And that game was a fun game too. So I don't love the double Monday night schedule. If they do, the only time I didn't mind it was when they had those like weekday double headers during COVID where they had like replay games. Correct. And they would start a game at like 4:30 p.m. and it would be over in time for the primetime game. Like I could do it that as long as they're completely like in their own slates. I don't like 2 primetime games happening at the same time. I think that's stupid.
Yeah, and especially with the slates recently, it seems like there's one absolute bum game, and then there's one good game, so you know where a majority of people, other than the respective fan bases, are going to focus.
Yeah,
It's just it's too much for like a work day. Obviously, your
Right.
Sunday is full
Yeah.
for that, but like
Yeah.
when you're waiting for 8 hours of a work day and you just want to watch and focus on one game, like the fact that you're gonna put two and one I don't want to focus on.
Yeah.
I'm
And like
aware.
as a Bears fan on Monday, like obviously I was locked into the Bears game, like I just said, but I feel like I was kind of I was not able to, like, it was like this Falcons Bills game, which was like, it wasn't the best game, but it was close. And like, the Falcons players are putting up crazy numbers in this game. I feel like I was not like, I was taken, the ability to watch this game was taken away from me almost, because like I wasn't going to flip back and forth between the Bears game and that game. I don't want to miss anything in the Bears game, but it's just, we just stick to the script. Let's before we start putting double Monday night games, let's make sure we get every Thursday game to be like this one we just watched, because there are some stinkers on Thursdays. So let's get the Thursdays down before we start doing double Mondays. Although I think I did hear that the NFL is going to stop doing this next season. I think that they've kind of heard people not liking it. They're going to stop doing the double Monday game, which I'm good with.
Totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Especially during buys when you have
Right.
teams off, so there's
Yeah.
not as many matchups that are lucrative anyway. So
Yeah.
like that,
I mean,
it's confusing.
you get to bye weeks. You got these fucking London games every week. So like you're like on Sunday, there was only 3 games going on at the 3:00 slate, and they were not good. And it was just like boring. You put this you put the Bears Commanders or the Bills Falcons in that game, and people are going to watch it because it's a good game and people are going to get eyeballs on it. You buried on a Monday night game behind another Monday night game. It's like, why'd you do that? You only got 3 games on Sunday afternoon. It doesn't make any sense. I don't like it.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll get off our pedestal on Monday night,
Yeah.
but get into another pedestal and talk about our overs of the week. Not hot in any perspective, like Nick was saying on our bets last week, but we're going to get hot this week. I feel like the trends are going a certain way. We've gotten into some things, a lot of confusing overs, some injuries that have happened. I took last week the Buffalo team total over. Very confused about this team right now.
Yeah, right.
And how they're playing. So respectively, bad pick by me. You're picking Detroit and KC, I thought was a lock.
Yeah.
And it seemed like it was going to trend that way, and then all of a sudden we just kind of stopped scoring points.
So taking Lions touchdowns off the board, fourth downs not being converted on both sides.
Little ref ball,
like a ref show. It was, this game had all the makings to be a great over and a fun watch, and it just turned into an absolute stinker. So it's a bummer.
Yeah. I think the only over that we enjoyed seeing was punches thrown at Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yes.
That worked out for everybody's favor, but Jay did come out on top as the only winner of overs of the week and had the Chargers in Miami, which I don't think I paid attention to in a lick, but great pick by Jay.
Yeah.
So we're going to move into overs of the week this week. Nick, what are you thinking? You thinking game? You thinking player prop? You thinking something? What are you mixing up this week for us?
All right. I am going to take a game. I'm going to take a game that has a low number, or not low, but lower than I thought it would be. I had this game closer to like at or above 50. So I'm happy to see it at 48.5. I'm taking the Colts Chargers 48.5. Colts have just been putting up points, and the Chargers can do the same. Neither team have great defenses, and they both give up points. I think this number should be higher, and based on that, I'm taking it. So Colts Chargers 48.5.
48.5. Seems like the Chargers have been, I think they started early in the year where there were close games, not a lot of points scored. Now it seems like the floodgates have opened for their defense. Like people have figured them out. So like
they
that,
got like Khalil Mack's hurt, so they don't have much of a pass rush these days. So I think that helps too.
I am picking a game as well. It's an early slate, two teams that can score points. And I'm really not going to go much more into detail. It was the game that I had number 1 overall, and it looks like it's climbing a little bit, but right now I've got it at 44.5. And I've got the Rams visiting Jacksonville.
That was my number 2 on the board. I swear to God, I love that game too.
Yeah. I do love 12 noon games in Jacksonville for points.
That
for
game
sure.
is in London.
That game is in London.
Yeah.
Even so,
right.
That's Jacksonville technical home.
Yeah. Jacksonville East.
Jacksonville East, but yes. That doesn't. I think that's like the third time I've done that. Maybe I should do a swing and miss on who is actually where that game is actually located. Finder for Drew. But I do love that game for the over. And yeah, that's why I'm taking it. Yeah,
and one thing I'll say, and for whatever reason, I used to follow Big Cat's like Christmas Day NBA trend where you bet the under in the first 2 games, and it worked for a while. Then the bookmakers kind of figured it out and made that number higher. I thought that I was kind of on the ground floor of a trend as I started taking London unders because it's different and it's weird and whatever. And I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I feel like the unders are like 3-10 in their last like 13 in London. So that would mean overs are like 10-3 or whatever. So I like that. So that's another reason why I like this too, is because games in London tend to go over for whatever reason.
Yeah. I think they started, I feel like, don't quote me on this, but I feel like when they started doing these London games or overseas games, like they started really bad. And now it
was always Jacksonville. So yeah, they started really bad.
Yeah. It started really, really bad. And maybe it's a little bit, we'll sprinkle some J magic on this. The NFL script is saying, you got to score points, guys. You got to score points so we can keep
trying to grow the game. God damn it.
Yeah. We got to control it here. Score points. Your defenses are going to stop. So we'll get overs of the week out to you. We'll get Jay's over of the week and we'll put it out on our socials so that you guys can see that. That does it for bets other than 2-3 man weave here. Nick, I'm going to let you take this one because you put together the slate and I'm going to let you feed it back and forth for this week of what we got, because you also have the hot hand.
I do.
Hot hand of 6-1 last week.
I do. So yeah, last week I went 6-1 in the 3-man pick, 3-man weave. Jason went 4-3. Drew went 3-4, which means that we are incredibly locked up at the top. Like Jason's up 22 and 19-1. I'm a game behind him at 21-20-1. Drew a game behind me, 20-21-1. So we are as log jammed at the top as we could be right now. So really needed that 6-1 effort last week. So hopefully I bring some more of that this week. With that, again, 3-man weave. It'll be 2-man weave in this case. We'll get Jay's picks out as well eventually. But 3-man weave, we are just going through some of the closest spreads on the board and we're picking money line, just who's going to win the game. 7 games. And as always, we're going to finish with your Chicago Bears. So we're going to start though with Drew's second favorite team, Philly. Drew. You going to stick with the trends? You're going to take your boys, or so it's Philadelphia at Minnesota. Philadelphia is favored by 1.5 points.
Yeah, I don't know where this game is going to go with a starter of, I think we saw JJ McCarthy now might be ready to start. Carson Wentz has seemed serviceable enough as Minnesota's team, but I do think Philadelphia has to right the trend. You can't go much more on the loss trend here and hope that you're surviving in the East after losing to the New York Giants, who seem to be trending up. And you just have a competitive division. So you got to win the games out of the division. And they've had success in the last, 4 years out of division. So I'm going to take the Eagles as much as they are crashing down right now. Just have to, this seems like a right the ship sort of game for them before they get into some huge division play against rivals.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on all that stuff. I think I have, the Vikings have not impressed me, whether it's JJ McCarthy or Carson Wentz playing quarterback. I think the Vikings are kind of stink. I don't think they're very good. I know the Eagles have looked bad the last 2 weeks, but the Eagles are still, I think, a good team. I think, regardless, I think they're better than the Vikings. So I'm going to take the Eagles as well. I remain sick of their shit, but I do think they're going to win this game. So I do like the Eagles in this game. I put my name here. You need to write the team I'm picking. I put your name there too. I don't know what I'm doing. All right. So we both have Philadelphia. So I will go ahead and start this one. Panthers at Giants. Panthers are favored in this game by 1.5 points. That threw me a little bit, to be honest with you. I'm a little surprised the Panthers are favored. As I mentioned in the show last week, Panthers are actually a pretty good team at home. They're undefeated at home, and they average like 10 more points a game at home than they do on the road. Giants are young. They just beat the Eagles last week. They have some players that are kind of coming of age, not just Jackson Dart and Cam Scadaboo, but you look over at the defense as well. They got a very young, very good defensive line. So I'm actually going to take the Giants a hold serve at home. I actually thought about playing this one as my dog, to be honest.
I gotta stop you.
Why?
It's Panthers and Jets.
No, it's not. Why do I have Giants written down? God damn it. In that case, I'm taking the Panthers. That makes a lot more sense.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I must have just screwed that up. No, you're right. You're totally right. Because the Giants, they're playing against that doesn't matter. Fuck. All right. Well, either way, I'm definitely taking the Panthers in this game because I think the Jets are bad. This line makes a lot more sense now, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I was really confused, but yeah. All right. Panthers at Jets, Carolina minus 1.5. I'm going to take the Panthers because the Jets suck. So Panthers. Thank you.
It took me a second because I was looking at Giants and I was like, okay, hold on 1 second. I think they might not be. And then I know where you had that mix up, but at the same time, but one of these teams is getting off the schneid because we've got an 0-3 away team in Carolina and an 0-4, 0-6 team overall in the Jets. And I don't know how you can pick with the Jets right now. Justin Fields does not look good. Yeah. Maybe you can run the ball with Breece Hall, but the Carolina Panthers look like maybe not a winning football team by any matter, but like they can play the game of football, and the Jets do not look like it. So I'm 100% with you in the Panthers on this one. It does well. You see line movement like that of it's opened for the Jets at minus 1.5, and then it's screamed to the Panthers. You think that's probably Joe Public rather than the heavy money,
right?
But it's still like you got to take the team that looks like they can actually play football, right?
Yeah, I do think. I mean, odds are that the Jets are going to win a game this season. There's only been like a handful of winless teams in NFL history, and the Jets, although they suck, I don't think they're like historically bad, although they might be. But so it wouldn't shock me, right, to see the Jets win this game, but I can't with good conscience take the Jets to win a football game at this point. I think Justin Fields threw for like 85 yards last game or something like that. It's bad. So yeah. Sorry, Jets. I wish it was Giants. That would have been a lot more fun of a game to talk about if it was the Giants. Anyway, next game, we have the Colts at the Chargers. Chargers minus 1.5. Drew, I'll let you take the first stab at this one.
Yeah, I hesitate with this game because it's a team that seems like they've been trending upwards in Indianapolis and a team that has kind of been stagnant over the past couple of weeks in the Chargers. Although they did beat the Dolphins last week, they lost 2 previous to that. I do think it's just more of a close game, managed game, Jim Harbaugh game. They are injured at the running back position, but I do think it's just LAC at home, you kind of have to roll with them because look at their home wins so far this year. They've beat the Chiefs and they beat the Broncos. So they know how to play at home. They know how to play at SoFi. Yes, they lost the Commanders, but they played a good game in the first half and just let that game slip away into Jaden Daniels' hands. But I got to take the Chargers here in SoFi, give them that. Danny Dimes is looking great. Don't get me wrong. I think this is like you had it for your over of the week. I think this could be an electric show of a game, but I got to go with the Chargers.
Yeah. So I love the Chargers, not in this game. I just love the Chargers in general because I love Jim Harbaugh. As you know, I'm an Omari and Hampton believer. Obviously, he's injured right now, but I do love him. I also have both Ladd McConkey and Quentin Johnson on my Dynasty Fantasy team. My Dynasty Fantasy team is essentially the Chargers. I have so many goddamn Chargers on my team. But with that being said, I am starting to become a Danny Dimes believer. More than that, I'm becoming a Jonathan Taylor is still fucking really good at football guy. Not necessarily. Danny Dimes is definitely benefiting from having, honestly, he's probably the best running back in the NFL right now. I think he's the leading rusher. I think he's probably up there in yards per carry. He has been unbelievable this season. So I'm going to take the Colts in this game. I said a few weeks ago, if the Colts win this game, I'm going to start believing in the Colts. And I think they lost, but like it was a game that the receiver fumbled that ball over the goal line, then had the hold. So I'm going to count that as a win in my head. So I'm taking Indianapolis in this game.
Yeah, I one side point to this game, and our viewers on YouTube, if you pull this up really quick, I'm just going to show it and give it a really quick highlight because it's amazing. This is another reason why I'm picking the Chargers here. Is this, Nick, is an absolute dynamo of a jersey here in the Charger Power alternate jerseys. So I no more reason like to say like, oh, I got to pick that because of that. Those look amazing. So
God, the Chargers is every uniform combination they throw out is just the best. The Chargers have such sick uniforms. That's awesome. I wish I would have known that. I'm a big believer. I'm honestly a big believer in like betting based on like uniforms. Like the Ravens had a game earlier this year. I think they lost it because they've been bad this season, but they were playing. It might've been the Bills game. Actually. I don't remember. It was one of their primetime games. So they were in their all black uniforms,
the blackouts. Yeah.
And my buddy Jamal is, he's a big Ravens fan. And I texted him as soon as I found out, like putting the house on the Ravens money line. The Ravens don't lose in like all blacks at night. And they did. So that sucked. But anyway, I'm a big believer in betting on the uniforms. Okay, next game we have on the slate, we have the Falcons at 49ers. 49ers are favored by our -1.5. I'll take the first stab at this one. I think the Falcons have arrived. I think the Falcons are about to start something. I'm taking the Falcons. They really took it to Buffalo last week. Their defense is kind of emerging as like a legit defense in the NFL, which is not something you could say about Atlanta for honestly the past like 10, 15 years. Like they've always been an offense first team and their defense has kind of just like struggled along the way. Atlanta's defense is legit. They've been drafting defensive players for the past 2 years and they're starting to show that they can play. And then obviously they have Bijan is probably the most dynamic running back in the NFL right now. And then, like I said, when you pick Drake London in your fantasy pick him, he is emerging as a legit wide receiver one go-to guy. So gotta like that. I'm taking the Falcons in this game, and I actually almost thought about taking the Falcons as my dog because I think they're going to win this game. So
yeah. Things trending right for the Niners is George Kittle is fully planning to play. Yeah, they are still the most injured team in the NFL. And I think you see it's not really a passing of the torch or anything like that, but you definitely see the trend of like RB1 of dynamic running backs in this matchup of Christian McCaffrey and Bijan Robinson, and sort of the passing of the torch of like, this dude is that dude. Funny thing of last week, if you saw a It was a little like underneath the helmet of Michael Penix doing a dump off to Bijan Robinson, and he was just juking everybody out of their shoes. And Michael Penix was just back there, like announcing it, going like, "This dude's a video game. It's a 99 overall character. That's a make your own character sort of thing."
Yeah.
And with a guy like that, where you can control the game, keep the ball out of their hands. Although San Francisco's great at home, I side with you on this one. Of the Falcons look like they're starting to understand what's going to win them games. Get your star playmakers the ball, control it on defense, and that's going to help you out. And they gotta make up for some things in the NFC East, or not NFC East,
South,
NFC
yeah.
South.
Yeah.
In the South. So
Yeah.
I think you're going to see a great game, great night game. And again, another time that you see Bijan very high featured. So yeah, give me the Falcons.
Yeah. I also just think that the 49ers, with all their injuries, have been kind of playing above their weight, punching above their weight a little bit this season. They've won some games that I don't know if they necessarily, that they probably weren't the better team in. I think specifically to that Rams game last week. They beat the Seahawks earlier in the year, which I think the Seahawks probably should have won that game too. So there's some games where I think the 49ers are kind of lucky to be the record that they have. So I don't necessarily believe in the 49ers. I mean, and not just nothing against them. I just don't know if anybody can withstand the number of injuries to like such key players that they've had this year. Although, who had this like before the season? Mac Jones looks like a serviceable quarterback, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we'll see. I do like Atlanta a lot in that game, though. So then if we're moving on to our next game, we have Houston at Seattle. Seattle is -3. I'll go ahead and take this one. I took them as my dog. I think Houston's going to win this game outright. So give me the Texans. Their defense has been playing lights out, and their offense I feel like their offense is due to like break out. Nico Collins is having a good year still, even with the offensive struggles. CJ Stroud has been looking better the last couple of games he's been playing. So I like the Texans in this game.
It's a surprising stat to see too, that the Seahawks are 1-2 at home. You think the 12th
Right.
man is
Yeah.
like an advantage to them,
Yeah,
and maybe
it's
it's
weird.
not as much. And another line movement kind of immediate to -2.5 at the set, and now it's -3.5 or 3 in some books. But just has a little confusing nature to me. Maybe there might be some weather slate to it, and in that case, I'm just gonna side with the home team in Seattle of controlling the game. It's not one that I feel incredibly comfortable about. I definitely can see the weird sort of cover because it's a close game in the dog, and Seattle somehow pulls it out. Especially with a low, that's 41.5. And these two teams have shown that they can score lately. So it's just a weird game for me. So I'm going to side with the home team there, especially since they have a little bit better of the record right now. But yeah, I'm confused by this game. So at this point, I just kind of settle with the favorite.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think this is going to be a close game. I don't think Houston's going to blow them out, but I just like the way their defense has been playing. So we'll see about that one. So then the next game we have is Drew's over. We have the London game, the Rams versus the Jaguars. Rams are -3 in London. So Drew, why don't you tell me who's going to win this game?
Neutral site. After I said it was a home game for Jacksonville, kind of is, because it's home East, like Nick said.
London East or Jacksonville East. Yep.
Makes sense that you get a -3 at a semi-neutral-ish site / home game. These teams right now seem like they can't stop a nosebleed, and two of the higher scoring teams in the league of 140 and 139. So with a shootout, I kind of like the underdog to win in those games. So it's just a more established team in the Rams. If Puka is healthy, and I think he's not exactly healthy, but he's still going to play, trending towards playing. You got to just give me Matt Stafford and Puka and Kyron Williams scoring multiple touchdowns. It's not that I don't trust in T-Law right now. It's just kind of got to go with the Rams here for me. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I actually have been following Puka's injury news pretty closely. He hasn't been practicing all week, which kind of leads me to believe that he's not going to play. So that's as simple as it is for me with the Rams. Is Puka Nacua playing? If he is, yes, the Rams are probably going to win. Is Puka Nacua not going to play? He's not. Okay, I'm probably going to lose then. I don't know if I don't know if there's any stats that back that up, but that's just how my brain works. So I'm going to take the Jaguars because it looks like he's trending towards not playing. If Puka Nacua does play, obviously I'll ride with the Jaguar pick, but I do think that, I've liked the Jaguars all season, except for last week. I don't know why I just had a feeling about them, but I think that Jacksonville, they play a game in London pretty much every year. They're home in London. The Rams play there too, but I just feel like there's just, I don't know. I think the Jags actually do have a little bit of a fan base in London because they played so many games there. So it is a neutral site, but it's like when you watch like a college football game, like you watch like Alabama against like Notre Dame playing in Atlanta. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, it's neutral, but like obviously Alabama's got a lot more fans because it's in the South still. So I'm gonna take Jacksonville here.
Makes sense. I mean, you lose almost 10 plus targets per game average there. And yeah, they have other guys to throw to, but at the same time, that's a tough one.
Yeah. But hopefully Kyron Williams still has a monster game because have a lot of stock in him as well this season. So, okay, last game on the slate. You know where we're going. New Orleans Saints coming to Chicago. Bears are favored by 4.5 points. We talked at length about this game earlier in the show. I think I went first last time, so I'll let you go first this time, Drew.
Yeah, I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I picked against the Bears last week. We're going with the Bears this week. It just looks like it's opposite trends each direction. We know there's a parity in the NFL, but I think the NFL is starting to come around to the Bears are what makes the market good for it. And we're starting to see that the Bears understand how to win games. Now we need to see how they control games and can do things, especially at home. So give me the Bears, give me a controlled game. I mean, I almost like the 4.5 too at home. So like you were saying earlier, there's going to be a money line bet. There's probably going to be a sprinkle on the 4.5 for sure. And yeah, no ifs, ands, or buts about that one.
Yeah, I think I gave away my pick earlier when I was talking about this game. I mentioned, obviously I picked the Bears pretty much every week. I think I've only not picked them like twice the entire time we've done this show. But I'm picking the Bears. I'm betting the Bears money line. I'm betting the Bears minus 4.5. I might throw a alternate line to like 6.5, something like that. See if I can't get a little bit. See if I can get a little greedy with my bets. The weather obviously plays a role in this. Like we've been talking about, it's going to be sloppy. In the sloppiness, again, like we saw Monday night, things can happen that you wouldn't necessarily expect to happen. I do if the Bears walk away from this game as losers, and I will be shocked, and we'll have a fiery podcast on Monday night. But I just don't see that happening. I think the Bears have really kind of found something. They've been pretty, they've been consistent in that they've been able to like gut out the wins that they probably shouldn't win. So I think it'll be interesting to see how they handle a game that they should win, and then a game against a on paper inferior opponent. And I think that this is unusual. Like this hasn't happened really yet this season. Like you look at the Bears 3 wins, like Cowboys, they have more talent than the Bears probably. You look at the Raiders. The Raiders are probably inferior to the Bears on paper. But they came out of the gate real sloppy in that game. And then obviously Commanders, I think it's pretty close. But in the Commanders, I mean, they went to the NFC Championship game last year, so you give them the benefit of the doubt. So seeing the Bears be a significantly, at home better team, I think, you got to take the Bears. And yeah, I'll be on the lookout for that Ben Johnson locker room video after the game. So
just absolute electricity.
Yeah, it's so good.
Everybody.
It's just the best.
I think our good friend of the pod and listener, Brian Roth, put it out of, there's no other electricity in Chicago going on for Chicago sports. And if anything, you take away Ben Johnson's semi-smiles whenever you can get them and his electricity after wins to kind of spark plug you up, like that's all you need right now. And if anything, you just hope that another one's coming pretty quick. But I would rather it be not a close win to where he does one of those things to where it's just a dominating win and we're like, okay, on to the next one. There you go.
No, for sure. Actually, I guess after the Cowboys win, it was his first win, so it was a little bit different. So I guess we'll see if he kind of tones it down a little bit if they win this game. Hopefully, God, I hope. But anyway, that's a good point. But all right, that's going to wrap up all of our picks and bets and all that fun stuff. And we're almost done with the whole show. But before we close out the show, Drew, I'm going to kick it over to you for your closing thoughts.
Yeah, kind of interesting. I've been a little just what's going on in my life lately with closing thoughts and getting into some just overall positive vibes. I'll continue a little bit of that trend, Nick. I had a very stressful day today, and the only thing that happened that helped me today is I got home and I was sitting around with my wife, and my wife started just humming a song that I hadn't heard in a while, and it was Father Figure by Eric Clapton. And I played that song on repeat maybe 15 times when I got home, and it got me in just such a great vibe to, one, do the show, two, look forward to like fatherhood period that's going to happen soon for me, and three, get ready for just some new feels that are going to happen. And I would say to anybody out there in the BQ Army that's listening, if you're having a tough time, you need to get through, turn on a good tune that you haven't heard in a while and get yourself in the right mindset going forward, because nothing does it like, yes, Nick, you and I, we're big movie guys. You can watch a good movie and help you out, get through the day, but you got 2 hours invested there. Turn on a good tune that you haven't heard in a while. And vibe out for 3 to 5 minutes, and that'll get you feeling some type of way. So I know that's kind of weird, but hey,
I love it.
That's my closing thought there.
I love that. I love anything, it is like a stressful time of year, right? The days are getting shorter. The winter is like right around the corner, right? We don't want to skip through fall, but the winter is coming right around the fall here. It's a, sad time of year. Cubs are not playing baseball anymore. It's a sad time of year. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, man, you got to do what you can to keep your mentals strong right now. So yeah, I love that. I'm very my wife is a mental health therapist, so we are very very mental health positive in this house. So I appreciate you saying that, and I think that's good advice for anybody. Also, don't be afraid to see a therapist, because they're good and they're good at what they do.
Yeah.
So
seek help. Seek help when it's needed.
Yeah. Oh, great. All right. So my closing thought is really just I don't know. I guess just we're in the part of the season where we did our Halloween candy podium list, which graphic will come out soon to vote on. We're in that time of year where Halloween is like 2 weeks away, 2 weeks from tomorrow. It's just a great time of year. We got football on all the time. We got pumpkin patches, and we got corn mazes and bonfires and all that fun fall stuff. Like, I don't know about you, but fall is my favorite time of year. Yeah. I love being able to just like throw a sweatshirt on, pair of like sweatpants, and go out and not to be hot ever. It's like there's a crispness in the air. I will say I did go golfing a few times last week, and the leaves are starting to fall, and it makes finding a golf ball very difficult, which I'm not a huge fan of because my golf ball is rarely where it's supposed to be. So that's not my favorite part of fall. But everything else is good. We took the kids to the pumpkin patch last weekend, and it's always a good time. They got to pick out their pumpkins and all that stuff. So we'll probably carve those bad boys up this weekend. But yeah, just enjoy the fall stuff because this is like the best time of year in my mind. The next 2 weeks before and Halloween, like the 2 weeks leading up to and the day of Halloween are always good days. And Halloween's on a Friday this year, and that rocks. You know, whether you're in your mid-20s and you're partying, or whether you're old like me and you're taking your kids trick or treating, to go to work the next day, which is always a bummer. It's just a good thing to have it on a Friday. So enjoy the fall. We're in the good part of the year now, so enjoy it. And also, Jay, make sure you bring back some money. I know you're listening to this podcast on the airport or on the airplane coming home coming back from Vegas. Make sure you bring some money. We could use some investments in Barely Qualified. So I'm going to be looking at you to be funding some of the stuff we do in the future.
Good vibes from Vegas. He's going to be sending. I want to hear on the pod on Monday some good stories of gambling winnings or just some great vibes in Vegas.
Hitting some jackpots would be wonderful. So, all right. So for on behalf of Drew Bailey and Jason Maxwell, we'll give him some credit. He's here. He's not here, but he's here in spirit. On behalf of Drew Bailey and Jason Maxwell, I'm Nick Lavris. Thanks a lot for listening, and as always, we will catch you all on the flip side.
Thank you for listening to the Barely Qualified podcast. Like, comment, subscribe for more on a bi-weekly basis.